Good morning. Today I am in conversation with Mr. Leong. Thank you, Mr. Leong, for being a part of this very special project.
You're welcome, and thanks for inviting me to this session.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Mr. Leong, let's start from your childhood. What kind of memories are still very fresh in your mind from your childhood days? So if you could just walk us through where you lived, what kind of a family that you grew up in, what was your neighborhood like, what were some of the activities that you were involved in, what school did you go to, any special memories from your school?
Okay, I will start sometimes around 5, 6 years old because
Okay.
the earlier memory seems to be a bit more and not too sure. My father's worked in the shipyard, so we were actually housed in the quarters within the shipyard premises. So there's a portion of it that actually carved out for families to stay. So there are four blocks of low-lying flats, two-story high. Each block at about 10 families, 5 at the bottom, 5 at the top. And within that compound, basically they have some children. There's a big portion of a field, and then there's some swings, seesaws, and then people tends to have children running around. Then children have a space to run around. I grew up in that kind of environment until I was about 12 years old.
Okay, and was there a school within the shipyard?
No, the school is about, I put it about 3 kilometers away. So we normally will walk out of the shipyard. There's actually a bus. This bus takes us about 5-10 minutes to reach to the school. It's a primary school. It's called Tanjong Ru Boys School. At that stage, I think there tends to be gender segregation between boys and girls school at that time. I grew up in that environment. So there's quite a lot of, I would put it that it's quite a safe place where we were. And then you actually have guards at the external part of the shipyard. And then while we are inside, so things were there are actually quite a number of different races, Chinese, Indian, Malays. And I think I grew up with a nice mixture of the racial mix.
Okay.
I still recall around sometime during that period, there's some news about racial riots in Malaysia and some sort of disturbances coming around down south to Singapore. But the good thing about it is that the community there tends to be very cohesive. People talk to one another. People don't have this kind of idea that I'm of this race, you're of the other race. So I find that actually helps me a lot about growing in a multiracial country like Singapore. So that helps. I think in that sense, I am quite glad that in that particular community we have, it's no longer segregation of races and you have different views against other people and things like that. So I'm quite glad that I have that part of my childhood. The other one is that because I think most of the families there were the younger families, so there were a lot of children around. So we actually gather together and play around and things like that. So that helps a lot. It is also, I tend to see a bit, the Malay tends to have cats, whereas some other family tends to have dogs. But there's no particular sense that you feel that there were strong feelings against other people having different form of cats and things like that. Because there's a field, a big field there, so some families actually, they put a small garden and they have plants, so you have fruit trees. I find that was quite good because despite the fact that we are actually a close community, I get to see different fruit trees being grown, guava, jackfruit, soursop, tomato, chilies. I'm not in the farm, but then I get to see all these things around me. And then I can see various things. The other one is that there's a shipyard that's next to us. So you find that essentially there are a lot of other activities that is I will put it the engineering part of it and things like that. It gives you a different way of looking at what is happening in the world. When people talk about industry, I have already an experience. I can see people doing some of those work there. And then the way it is structured is that the quarters are actually at the end of the shipyard. So in order to get out of the place, you actually have to pass through where the shipyards are, big ships.
Wow.
There's water, there's electricity. So you have a lot of amenities in which you can get easily. Also at that time, I find that the neighbors tend to be quite close. Sometimes they will have festivals. Okay, I'm not relating to the Chinese group of people. Like now, I think the Mooncake Festival is coming in. So you actually have children coming out, playing with the lanterns, moving around at night and move. So there were a lot of other activities through the year in which you find that your neighbors and yourself, you just can play with. You can play catching, you can play rounders. I don't know whether... There were a lot more, but the field was big enough. And then we also have a small ball in which we kick around and play football. So I was quite... I would think it's quite an enriched part. And the fact that I don't really need to move far away to get things done. In fact, the neighbors keep saying that you don't even have to lock the door if you're going, because basically just a small number of families, people are just... I don't see anyone... Through the years, I've never seen anyone...
That's incredible. And also because you said it was so multiracial, so you would have gotten exposed to other cultures like the Malay culture, the Indian culture,
yes,
and their traditions, their food.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very enriching way of growing up, and you must be really... I think it must have had a huge impact on you. This Lumina Vitae episode is brought to you by the Bloom Fund, managed by TRCL. The Bloom Fund is an intergenerational initiative dedicated to bridging generations and fostering meaningful connections between seniors and younger communities. By promoting shared experiences and mutual understanding, the fund aims to reduce social isolation, cultivate empathy, and build a more inclusive and compassionate society. Through strategic partnerships and ongoing research, the Bloom Fund continues to champion innovative arts programs that empower individuals to grow together across ages.
The other thing about this particular quarters that we have, there's a portion of it that is actually open to us, which is to a beach. And it's really a beach, golden sand.
Wow.
It is about 200 meters with waterfront coming in. So we do have a lot of fun at water. I learned to swim there from a very young age, around 6, 7 years old. And during school holidays, we will run down to the beach, catch fishes and whatever. There were other incidents that the good thing is that we didn't really have any accidents or whatever. There are poisonous fish here and there, but so far, I don't recall us having any particular issues with it. And when it's low tide, you can actually walk out to about 100 meters further down from the golden sand to the muddy part of the sea, and you can see various stones, corals, and other things around, starfish.
I think you were very fortunate, and clearly it had an impact on you because you still seem to have very vivid memories of where you grew up, which is so incredible. Do you have any kind of photographs or...
Yeah, I took one digital one I put in my phone. It's a swing in which I was still small. You can see my size compared to... I still have some around, but I haven't had time to dig them up. If you ask me, there are somewhere. It's just that through the years, I have shifted houses for my residence for, I think, 5, 6 times. So some of the things are just packed somewhere. Haven't had time to go and look at all those things.
Wow.
Nowadays, you see in YouTube, they talk about eagles and then how they scoop down and then pick up either wild animals and things like that. there, there happened to be two big birds that fly around there, high in the sky. They look like eagle, but exactly where they hide themselves, but you will actually see them in the sky during the daytime. And they seem to be permanent features for a while. And the marvelous thing is that you could actually see them scooping down to the water and then catching something up and then lifting it up. For a young child without TV, which you have enjoyed today with YouTube and various things, it was something that is amazing. You see something that is taking place in nature, which you can't enjoy without the luxury of the TV, internet, and things like that today. I saw it there, and it was like, wow, something that I don't think I'm not too sure many people actually have a chance of.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's
I mean,
amazing.
it's really amazing. You can actually see it flying,
And like
for
swooping
certain
down.
times, then
Yeah.
you're scoping down, you will just be anticipating, see what it's going to do, and how.
So
it's
was
gonna-
it fish? Was it fish?
Yeah, it's a fish.
Yeah.
And the fact that they could sort of do it, and then they fly up again, it's real visual. I can't really, but it is something magnificent for young children to watch it live.
Yeah. Yeah. So therefore, it's important for you to go home and dig out all those photos that are hidden away somewhere that you haven't visited in such a long time. Hopefully, this conversation is going to encourage you to do that.
There's a few more things. We grow up doing our own things, making up our own toys. For example, the shuttlecock. What happens is that the shipyard has many amenities and things like that. So one of it is those tires. So we make use of the tire and put for the bottom part of the shuttlecock. And then at that stage of Singapore development, a lot of people buy live chicken home, and then they slaughter it, and then they cook it. They don't buy like what we do, just go across to the coffee shop and get chicken rice. They buy a live chicken, they come home, they slaughter it, and then, so there's a lot of feathers around. And you can actually make use of the feathers, and then we actually create our own shuttlecock to play and things like that. The other one was that there were definitely spiders around, fighting spiders, that we caught in the bushes, and we play around with it.
You played with spiders.
Yeah, fighting spider. I'm not sure whether you are aware of such nature of such things in Singapore earlier days, when there are still some people who do it now, but that's what we were doing. We catch spider. You have a matchbox. When you take away the matches, or you use up you put them inside, and then what we do is, in order to feed the spider, you catch housefly, and you cut off the head, and you let them have it. That's the way in which to sort of nurture the spider for a duration. And then you see which spiders actually become the king of the group and whatever. But individually you have to put it. The other one was that this one is freshwater fish. We don't have it there, but you could actually buy some freshwater fish, fighting fish. And people tend to rear some of them, and then children, they will just take the opportunity to see which particular fish can fight against one another and which is the victor and things like that. The one that is actually more competitive will be flying kites. I'm not too sure whether they are doing it these days. We need a string to fly the kite up. So what we do is that because it's a shipyard, there are a lot of various things. So what you take spoiled lamb, you crush the grass, cut the grass into very fine powdery. You add some glue and you boil it. You use the string, strong one, but you actually put the whole set of strings into that groove, and then you take it out, and you find that actually there are portions of the glass that actually line the whole strings. And then you fly the kite at the end of it, and you compete with another friend who has the same thing with another kite, and you see who will win in the, you will just, and the two kites will just come together on the string part, and you see how you tackle it, and you try to make sure that you cut the other string off, and then the other kite will just thrown off, and then you remain the victor. I got cut myself a few times with those strings. It's not something that is, at that age and at that time, it's a different mental model of things. But now I don't want my children or grandchildren to be playing with those things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. That was
Thanks for the opportunity to trigger my mind as to what has happened.
No, it's been very interesting. Thank you so much, Mr. Leong. Thank you.